After studying the producer equilibrium, production, cost, revenue, now next thing that we have to, next concept that we have to study is supply. Right? Supply is just like demand. Like demand is a quantity, supply is also a quantity. But remember I told you before also that now you have to think from the point of view of the producer as if you are a seller. So supply is the quantity of a commodity which a seller is willing to buy. Seller is willing to sell at a given price and given period of time. So if you have to define supply, you can simply define it in this manner. It is the quantity of a commodity which a seller is willing to sell at a given price and a given period of time. Like demand is the quantity which a buyer is willing to buy at a given price and a given period of time. Now see, supply is also associated with two more terms, or you can say two more terms or associated with this concept of supply, which are production and stock. You know what is production? The total output produced, the total quantity, and stock. If you subtract supply from production, you get the stock. That is, it is that part of production which is not offered for sale. Okay, inventories which a seller might like to keep with him at every point of time so that he can meet out if there is any requirement of the market. So production is the total output which you produce, and stock is that part of the production which you have not offered for sale, and which you have offered for sale, that is the supply. That is, you are willing to sell at the given price or at a given period of time. So sometimes you may think of a question that can supply be more than production? Okay, right? We can simply say that suppose in 2010 the production of a particular commodity was 100. But can its supply be 120? Is it possible? Some of you would disagree that it is not possible, but yes, it is possible in case I have some previous stocks. Maybe say in 2009 I produced 100 units and sold only or supplied only 80 units and stocked 20 units. So this I can use to supply them in the next time period, right? So supply can be more than production if you have the previous stocks. These are the general terms, right? You have to just understand that what they mean, and you should know how they are associated with the supply. Next important thing that we have to study is the supply function. Like when we did the demand function, I told you the definition. That function, it always remains the same. So it is the functional relationship between supply and its determinants. Like demand function is the functional relationship between demand and its determinants. Here we have the supply and its determinants. Again we can frame an equation that supply of a commodity is affected by Px, Pz, T here would mean technology, input cost, government policy, goal of the firm, and expectation regarding the future price. These are the few determinants of supply. Okay, or you can say that these are the factors on which it would depend at what quantity a particular seller is willing to sell. Now we will study, this is called the equation of the supply function. So now we will study the supply function in detail. The first is the Px, that is the price of the commodity. Okay, now here as we had the relation between demand and price, you were thinking from the point of view of the buyer. Now you have to think from the point of view of the seller. So what will happen? More the price of your commodity, more you will be willing to sell, and lesser the price of your commodity, lesser you would be willing to sell, right? In this case, you will bring your previous stock also for selling, and in this case you may increase the stock and not offer the commodity for sale. So we can simply understand that there is a direct relation between the price of the commodity and its supply, right? And this is also known as the law of supply. Okay, as so the law of supply states that there is a direct relationship between price and supply, other things remaining same. Or you can say other things remaining constant. Like in the case of demand, we also use the term known as ceteris paribus, right? And always you have to remember that whenever we are studying a particular determinant, we assume that others remain constant. Okay, so this is the law of supply. The relation between the price and supply is also known as the law of supply. Now associated with the law of supply, you have the supply curve. Or first we can look at the supply schedule. Supply schedule, as we know that it would be defined as the tabular representation of the law of supply. Like demand schedule is defined as the tabular representation of law of demand. Supply schedule will be defined as the tabular representation of law of supply. And if you want to frame it, you can simply frame it as Qx, or you can call it as Sx. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, this is your supply representing the various quantities which a seller is willing to sell at various prices. Okay, direct relation between price and supply. Then next we have to study the supply curve. Supply curve is defined as the graphical representation of law of supply, right? Now as it is a direct relationship, it would be a upward sloping curve. Here I take the quantity supplied, and on the y-axis we take the price. This is your supply curve. Say at any point OQ was the quantity supplied and OP was the price. Now suppose you move on to some other point on the curve where the price is OP1, supply would rise to OQ1. Similarly, if there is a fall in price, say to OP2, the quantity supplied will also fall to OQ2. So here you can see simply direct relation between price and supply, and this is known as the supply curve. Okay, then next we have to talk about the second determinant, that is the price of related goods. Second determinant is PZ, that is the price of related goods. Now already in demand we have done related goods. There are two related goods. Substitutes and complementary goods. Okay, but when we are studying supply, then we need not bother or concern about the complementary goods. There is a reason behind it, there is a logic behind it. Now suppose, say we are the bread sellers, and along with the bread, butter is being consumed by the people as a complementary good. Now I don't need to bother about the bread company. I just suppose, say I am the seller of bread A, and there is another seller of bread who sells the B type of bread. So I would be bothered only about the person who is selling bread, not for the butter, because if the price of butter falls or rises, it doesn't affect my business, or Simply you can say that the business of this particular company doesn't affect my business. So I am doing my business, I am concerned only about the people who are producing the substitute good of my commodity, not about the people who are providing the complementary good. Okay, so we delete the complementary goods from here and we study only the substitute goods. Means here PZ is always the price of the substitute good. Now again we can come to this a sort of example. Suppose there were two type of bread being sold, say type A bread and say type B bread. So the price of this particular bread was 15 per unit and price of this bread was also 15 per unit. Now I am seller A selling this type of bread and he is the seller B selling this type of bread, and say I was selling 100 units of this particular bread per day and he was selling 80 units of this bread per day. Now what happens, suppose the price of this particular bread rises, say it rises to rupees 18 and people are still buying it. So what would I like to do? To sell this bread instead of type A bread, because this would fetch me more profit. Remember, the profit is the rate of return. The more expensive your commodity, more will be your profit, right? So I would always like to sell the commodity which is highly priced. So what do? I decrease the supply of this particular commodity if the price of the substitute rises. It means that there will be an inverse relationship, right? For example, you can use one simple logic that you must have heard that whenever you go to a doctor, he prescribes you the medicine which is more expensive, the brand which is more expensive. But if you go to some of the chemist who is known to you, he might give you the same medicine at a much lower price, right? Even the government is launching such apps. So what does this show about the mentality of the seller? He wants to sell which commodity? Whose price is high, right? So whenever the price of commodity rises, more and more sellers come to sell this particular commodity and less sellers will be willing to sell the commodity whose price is lower. Though it has not changed, it remains the same, but relatively it becomes lower than the other commodity. This